Think of this as a short lecture on how your brain has been unintentionally trained and how to retrain it. If you ask most people what dopamine is, they'll say it's the pleasure chemical. That's not quite right. Dopamine is not about pleasure, it's about pursuit. It's the signal your brain uses to decide what is worth your energy, your attention, and ultimately, your behavior. In neuroscience, we think of dopamine as encoding incentive salience, what feels important enough to act on.
Now here's where things start to break down in the modern environment. Your brain evolved in conditions where rewards were scarce and required effort. Today, rewards are abundant, immediate, and frictionless. And your dopamine system has not adapted fast enough to handle that shift. So what happens? Your brain begins recalibrating what counts as worth it. And unfortunately, real life starts losing. But the important part is this. Once you understand the mechanism, you can begin to reverse it. Let's make this more concrete. Every time you engage in a high-stimulation activity, rapid scrolling, constant novelty, hyper-palatable food, you produce a sharp increase in dopamine. But the brain doesn't just spike upward. It compensates. After the spike, dopamine levels dip below baseline. This is critical, because if those spikes happen frequently, your baseline, the level at which you feel normal, begins to drop. And the effects of that shift are not subtle.
Work begins to feel harder. Focus feels unnatural. And motivation starts to disappear. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain has recalibrated effort as not worth it. This is what we call a mismatch between ancient circuitry and modern inputs. So the real question becomes, how do you restore that balance?
The first intervention is not elimination, it's spacing. Your brain can tolerate high dopamine spikes. What it cannot handle is constant stimulation without recovery. So the goal is to reduce frequency. Practically, this means creating defined windows for high-stimulation activities instead of continuous access. And this is where the shift becomes practical. For example, check social media once or twice per day instead of intermittently. Avoid stacking stimuli like eating while scrolling while watching something else. You are not removing dopamine, you are restoring contrast. Because without contrast, nothing feels rewarding. And from here, we can begin to retrain the system itself. The second strategy is what we call effort-based reinforcement. Right now, many people experience dopamine before effort, through anticipation, novelty, or distraction. You want to reverse that sequence. Effort first, reward second. This is not just behavioral, it's neurological conditioning. And this is where the change becomes measurable. For example, do 60 to 90 minutes of focused work before any digital reward. Exercise without immediate distraction. No phone, no multitasking. Over time, your brain relearns a fundamental rule. Effort predicts reward. And when that association strengthens, motivation becomes more automatic. And from here, we move beyond reinforcement to stabilizing the system itself. The final strategy is not about spikes, it's about baseline. You want to elevate your resting dopamine level in a stable and sustainable way. The most reliable methods are biologically simple. Regular physical movement. Exposure to natural light, especially early in the day. Deep, uninterrupted work. And skill acquisition over time.
And over time, these begin to change your baseline. They do not produce dramatic spikes. They produce something far more valuable: stability. And a stable system is one that can focus, persist, and derive satisfaction from meaningful effort. So if you take one idea from this, let it be this: your brain is always learning what to value. And whether you realize it or not, your daily habits are training that system. The goal is not to eliminate dopamine. The goal is to become deliberate about what earns it. If you found this useful, subscribe to Safe Habits for more content on building a stronger mind and better daily systems. Because the habits you reinforce today become the behavior you live with tomorrow.